Mark, what's going on, man? You better be recording this time.
I am.
Fantastic. Out of all the times we've said we would record our pre-show banter and chats, I can't believe we've finally done it.
Yeah, mark the day, first week of November.
Pocket Edition 40-something. Only took us 40 episodes. What's going on, man?
So I am now at 45% story completion of Red Dead Redemption.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
I went at it.
So, tiny context. We were planning on touching base with you again before we recorded this week. Because last week you weren't feeling it. Is it?
No. Oh
no.
I was very mixed between it being a fairly good game to it being an incredible cinematic experience. And I wasn't really sure if what I was playing was a game, which, like, while I don't necessarily mind that, like, I love the Telltale games and like Heavy Rain and stuff like that. I don't mind that stuff. It's just that I thought that I would be getting a game in this respect.
Okay.
So I thought I'd play some more and see if my worries were laid to rest as the game sort of opened up a bit more. And it's...
Ooh, you're not selling it yet.
No,
I thought it was going to be a drastic turnaround this week.
No, if anything, it's worse.
Holy cow. Okay.
Like, look, the tutorial, or after the game stopped teaching me, was probably 3 missions ago in the story.
I've heard, I did some digging, like, after we chatted last week. I asked my brother, I asked some guys at work, and they said it's around about the 15 to 20 hour mark when those training wheels start coming off. Is that what you found, or?
Yeah, like, they start to come off, but they still, like, a few story missions here or there are still introducing new mechanics. I'm in the 4th chapter of the game, and there's like 6 chapters plus epilogue. And I'm like, can you just let me go? You can just, like, I know how to play this game now. Like, you can just stop introducing mechanics.
Oh, but you don't, Mark.
Yeah, apparently I don't. But see, my issue with it now is that while the training wheels have come off to a degree after 25 hours or so of playtime now, almost every single mission is the same thing.
Like kind of fetch questy?
Not necessarily fetch questy. It's that the missions have this certain structure of so-and-so wants to talk to you, but they want to meet you, they want to talk to you in X location. But you ride with them to X, perform whatever you need to do within that location for 30 seconds to a few minutes, and then ride all the way back to where the mission started. And that's roughly how the majority of the game has played out so far, side quests inclusive. Where like I timed it on this one quest that I did. It was 8 minutes travel time, 30 seconds of battle, then 8 minutes travel time back.
Okay. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Well, not a curveball. I'm going to throw a theory at you. Do you think that this story is basically a giant training wheel to prepare us, or you specifically, and those that own the game, prepare those for the online mode? And maybe the quest and mission structure is set up to in a way that it can be easily expanded upon for the online mode?
Possibly. I feel like the online mode's going to be full-blown chaos, which I'm fine with, because this feels very controlled.
So that might be a good thing.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong about, like, the point A to point B thing. It's not that it's not annoying traveling so much because you're talking to characters and fleshing out the world and getting this whole cinematic experience. It's just that when you ride alongside them for 8 minutes, you're just holding down a button and the game does the rest. And you're just like, I'm not really playing it. And when I look at my time played in the game, I'm like, probably like at least 10 hours of that has been travel.
So even the horsies have training wheels?
Yeah, my horsies have big training wheels. especially when I have
That's
that carriage.
Strange. Like, it still seems like to me, like I just view it, or I'm starting to view it after talking to you as like just like this cowboy western simulator. But when I say simulator, it's almost not in a sense, because you're saying it's so heavily controlling. Like a simulator is like, it relies on your input to live out an experience, but it seems to be restricting you in so many different ways.
Yeah, and so like, due to the way the narrative is told, it feels very immediate, and that's why I'm doing a lot of the story missions. But if you do decide to ignore that and sort of try to experience what you can when they sort of open it up a bit, there is like fun to be had and things like that. Hunting is interesting, but also frustrating, because there's a whole system of rarity of the animal, the condition of the animal before you kill it, how you kill it, and how you store its pelt on the way to travel. And like, it's really in depth, but it didn't need to be that in depth. There's multiple survival mechanics for you and the camp. There's multiple survival mechanics for you and the horse, and things like that. And your general movement and things feel a little bit sluggish, or a little bit like sort of BioWare and CD Projekt RPGs, how it's like when you try to interact with things in close proximity to yourself, you spin around awkwardly, trying to step over yourself to line up perfectly. That's how you control for the majority of this game.
Interesting. I've watched my brother. I still haven't played any. I've watched my brother play quite a bit. Seemingly not enough to pick up on the issues that you're having with it, but like, in order for this game to kind of like reach what you expected, what does it have to do? Or do you think maybe it is now a case of it's been overhyped for you? Because you do think it still is a great game still, right?
I think it's a great cinematic experience. I don't think it's much of a game.
Yeah, and this is where we circle back to the simulator type feeling. Or a poorly executed simulator. Yeah.
See, like, I think what I wanted was Red Dead Redemption 2, like the exact sequel to Red Dead Redemption.
The more arcadey experience.
Yeah. Like, part seriousness, part arcadey. This feels like all seriousness. Like there is a lot of lighthearted stuff in like side quests and things like that. Actually, just backtracking. One of the things I really dislike is like, yes, I get that you're a cowboy, you're in a gang, and you're criminals, but you're sort of like a very villainous criminal in the story missions, even though there's a morality system outside of the story. And like, there's points where you're like, okay, try to be careful, don't get a bounty, try to build a name for yourself in this town, and then you do the next story mission, and it's like, murder everyone in the town. And that's not even an exaggeration. There have been 2 missions so far where I've murdered everyone in a town.
Can you choose to not partake in those missions, or is it like a linear?
You have to do it.
Fuck. Yeah. Nah, I'm not digging it.
So that pulled me out of it twice so far. And
it kind of flies in the face of. I think maybe the issue is, or at least from my understanding, from what you've told me, is so many open world experiences preach. It's your story, tell it. Like, it's not a linear on wheels experience, and so many RPGs over the last 5 years, since Red Dead Redemption 1, since GTA, have been striving to do that, like not to create these linear experiences where you don't have control of story options. Do you think that factors in? That maybe you've been trained into a certain new direction? Yeah.
Like, I was reading on forums and things like that, like someone explained it pretty perfectly, which is like, open world game design has changed so much in the last 10 years, and everyone sort of does a similar thing, or like there's a similar structure, and games will follow that structure. In particular, Ubisoft have their sort of formula of what makes an open world game. And there's a lot of freedom and player choices like comes hand in hand with that. But Rockstar wanted to make the game that they chose. They wanted to make what they interpreted as open world, not what everyone else did.
Yeah. And in their defense, like they've made one of the most immersive, incredible worlds, but perhaps the storytelling and structure of the missions and player choice within that structure is lacking by today's open world RPG standards.
Yeah, like some parts of it feel incredibly old or held back by weird choices. I think that it's probably the most amazing game to some people, and it's just not my thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's the thing. Like it just feels like that. It's just not my thing this time around.
Well, you're a massive, JRPG niche type player and have played a crap load of modern day RPGs. Assassin's Creed Odyssey being the most recent.
Yeah.
So somebody who is as trained and up to snuff on like what's a current trending RPG is and is desirable for you at least, this definitely flies in the face of that.
Yeah, and like this is coming from I've played every single Assassin's Creed game, even if I liked it, even if I didn't like it. I've played all of the Witcher games in order because I was hyping up Witcher 3 really hard, so I had to play 1 and 2 before.
Fair enough.
Played all the Mass Effects, played all the Dragon Ages.
Do you think
played some Baldur's Gate.
Do you think Red Dead Redemption 2 is maybe not necessarily a victim, but maybe is suffering design choice-wise due to its long development time? Like, they had to make decisions early on that they can't just stray from later on in development as trends within the gaming industry change for the genre. So they would have decided very early on, I'd imagine. They have the game engine, then they would have started crafting the story. They would have decided very early on what the player control was going to be, and once you decide that, you can't exactly back out. Do you think it is? Do you think it's a victim of its long development time?
I think a large chunk of it is definitely.
Like they missed the boat a little bit?
Yeah, I think a large chunk of it is definitely, especially considering this is a prequel. So if you were given player choice or given too much player choice,
here we go. Yep.
It would have screwed up what people thought of the first game.
Interesting.
That's what I take of it, at least for story. Okay. I can still play dress up to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like I've seen someone online, they color coded their outfit to look like Woody from Toy Story.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is pretty awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But like after playing so much of it, sometimes the gunplay is good, sometimes it's not. You have to pull back the hammer every time you fire a bullet, which is one of those cool things where you're like, oh yeah, that's a nice gimmick, and then it starts getting in the way.
Yeah.
It starts getting in the way very quickly. And it's just like, the more I play it, the more I'm like, I like the immersion, I like the world. Like, the world is incredible. Visually amazing. There's no disputing how good it looks and how well it plays, how well it runs. And like the weather effects and things like that. And there's just this, it feels lived in. But I don't think I'm having fun.
Ooh.
I think I like what it is, but I'm not necessarily having fun. It feels cumbersome. It feels awkward. I'm in it and I'm being immersed into it, but it's just not all that much fun to play. And that sort of rounds out back to how I don't think it's a game, because like Telltale games aren't all that much fun to play, and like Heavy Rain and stuff like that, it's not all that much fun to play. But it's fun to experience.
I'm going to assume the story has not grabbed you then as well, because if the story had grabbed you, you could kind of, I think, negate some of these issues you're having.
Well, you see, the story, it spends a lot of time faffing about early on. But last night when I was playing it, it was gripping me hard, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And then they were just building up this story arc so well, and all this stuff was happening like crazy, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And then they just sort of cut it short with a very like sort of dull end to that arc. And I was like, oh. And then they go, we're going to go right back to the stuff we did in the first chapter. We're going to build a base. We're going to do all this. We're going to like set that up here. Or we're going to find out some horses here and things like. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I don't want it to have a rhythm every time you sort of move the camp for whatever reason. And that's what it's had. It's had the same rhythm 3 times over so far.
Yeah, sounding a little formulaic.
Yeah, and like it is trying to tell this overarching story, but it keeps sort of like, okay, oh wait, no, we need to wrap that up quickly so we can move you to the next area. But like, I can ride to the next area. You can like give me some credit.
Take the training wheels off.
And like, I completely understand why people wouldn't agree with me, and I can see why people love it, but it's not my thing.
Well,
or at least what they've done isn't my thing in terms of it being a game.
Again, though, do you think it is more so you rather than necessarily everybody? Because from what I've heard, everybody's loving it, but you are such a gaming veteran, especially within the genre. So you're definitely going to be the most nitpicky of all gamers with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a victim of experience.
Yeah.
Like if I had only ever played, say, like GTA, Red Dead Redemption 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2, so it'd feel like some incredible thing, like I didn't know games could do this. As like world building and things like that. But now there's a certain level, like there's weight of expectation on the game and weight of expectation on the genre and weight of expectation on my experience. Did
you see, just to sidestep a little bit, did you see the sales for Red Dead Redemption 2 on its opening weekend?
Yeah.
Over $700 million it made in pure bank over its opening weekend. Second largest entertainment opening weekend, period, full stop, and I'm assuming you know what beat it.
Yeah, GTA 5.
Fucking ridiculous, that game, isn't it? Holy shit. Could you imagine, like, do you think GTA, I think we actually speculated this a while ago, we were thinking, well, what's going to knock GTA out of that top 10 best-selling month after month after month? And I think quite often in the top 5 best-selling games, it's been this way since it released. And we were speculating that maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 would knock it out of its position. Like, people would kind of put down Red Dead, put down GTA, they'd stop thinking about GTA gamers that don't already own it, and they'd just be thinking about getting Red Dead. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think we're just going to see GTA and Red Dead kind of coexisting within the top 10 now?
Possibly, depending on how the online actually is.
Because they're very contrasting experiences, and I could see a lot of people preferring one or the other.
I think that it might be that they just coexist as like top spots.
That's fucking insane.
And so like Rockstar will sort of pull a Nintendo on like having IPs that remain on the top. Just because.
I'm gonna throw another incredible, crazy, very, very crazy prospect at you as well. Grand Theft Auto released on the previous gen consoles, correct? Like the very tail end. Then it got a remaster a few months later for the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yep.
Is it a crazy enough thought to imagine that we might get the same game remastered again for the next generation in a year or two time?
I think it's a possibility, especially since there's rumors of it being ported to PC.
That is it's not on PC?
No, it's a console game.
Holy shit! So fucking hell, that would be incredible. Like, surely that's never happened before. Because if it keeps selling the way it is for existing consoles, surely they're going to want to make bank by dropping in the bigger texture packs, upscaling resolution, improving the frame rate, adding in all the extra bells and whistles that you see on all the mods that have happened on the previous GTA on PC. And I'm not saying the existing GTA doesn't look phenomenal anyway, but, come the PS5, and I'm assuming whatever Microsoft's doing, there can be significant room for improvement. And we're imagining probably the PS5 is probably somewhere within the next 2 years, starting probably January 1st next year, right? So if it's consistently selling, why would they not want to pull a Skyrim / Bethesda and remaster it again?
And play Red Dead Redemption on your Alexa.
Yeah. Well, remaster everything. Like,
you put a cowboy hat on the Alexa.
Could you imagine if they open next generation with GTA gets its second remaster and Red Dead gets its first remaster? Like,
well, we'll see whether or not they'll do GTA 6 within that time frame as well.
Yeah. I mean,
although the time between GTAs is usually gigantic.
Yeah.
Red Dead, the time was a decade.
Yeah, absolutely. And GTA is not far behind that either, although GTA is kind of their pedigree, bread and butter, so it does get more frequent entries. But
GTA 5 came out 2013.
Fuck.
And so if you're saying 2 years starting January next year, 2021, it wouldn't be too far-fetched.
I mean, we're going to assume they've only just maybe... Because, there's overlap, right? So that they haven't gone from, okay, we finished Red Dead, now we're going to support it for a bit, and then we're going to start GTA. Like, the next GTA is probably already being developed. They would have had a small offshoot that started building the foundation, and then they're going to pick up full-scale development, somewhere, when Red Dead kind of gets cemented in with its online, and then they start transferring the bulk of the team over to a different project. So, it's definitely underway. So I'm assuming the next GTA, again, will be middle of next generation or something like that. But the prospect of it getting a second remaster, the previous one, is probably a little bit far-fetched and crazy, but I could still see it almost happening at the same time, considering how much time is still between GTAs. But at the same time as well, it may not be necessary with the next consoles. I mean, we know the Xbox has already fully embraced Xbox X enhancements, backwards compatibility. It's running on the same architecture, and we can safely assume the PS5s are likely going to stick with the same architecture, so that will likely be backwards compatible with PS4 games. But I don't know, it's interesting. It just kind of I think gives a lot of wow factor to the GTA, the existing GTA game. Like, and considering how already wowing it's already become in terms of its sales.
Yeah, it's like Rockstar only need a very small amount of IPs, but they just work on them.
Yeah, because they don't flog them
very carefully.
They don't flog them. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll ever diversify further.
Yeah, well, we've had modern day with GTA, Cowboys,
futuristic,
with Red Dead. Yeah, futuristic would be funny.
Yeah, pulling the Simpsons, man.
Yeah.
One of the Simpsons. Who actually makes the Simpsons? Futurama and Enchanted. Matt Groening?
Yeah. Oh,
What's his
yeah,
studio?
they've done it.
Yeah, all three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Past, present, future. Sick. It's awesome. No, I love it. Well, there you go.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, I think that's I don't know how to feel about Red Dead.
Yeah, like I'm so mixed about it. It's just like I can admit that it's a incredibly well made game. There's some things that are just amazing, and I enjoy the experience. I just don't think it's a game.
That's fair. I mean, in all likelihood, I won't even play it anyway because it's going to be way, way too big a time hole. I've actually been playing. Sorry,
just get your brother to load up a save. And just play for an hour.
Yeah,
just get my feel. You can get a feel for it.
Yeah, I've actually kind of been cheekily thinking about just flogging his Xbox when he finishes it and just plopping it onto my TV and just away I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been playing heaps of Overwatch lately anyway. Just tons of Overwatch.
You're getting back in?
Yeah, well, I mean, I never really originally got in anyway.
No.
I bought the game, played for 3 hours, put it down, and here I am again. I'm back. So, but it's good though.
I'm thinking of jumping back in now that they announced a new character.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember seeing that. Just something else that's going to wreck me. I had a pretty good. I've mostly been playing Bastion and Hanzo.
Bastion's pretty good.
Bastion is good.
Like early on, because you sort of okay, so his thing, I just ground myself in this area.
Yeah, you just get an angle and you just pound.
Because for a lot of other characters, especially the speedier ones, you always have to be moving.
Yeah.
And Hanzo is you sort of find a good general location and stay around there.
Yeah, and just start pinging away at those headshots as best you can.
Yeah. Motion sensor arrow and just charge a shot. Just get ready.
Wait from around the corner, bang, dead. It is so satisfying when you're Hanzo and you just drop those guys that sneak behind you. Like all those cancerous characters that just love getting behind you. Or Reaper. I got Reaper the other day when he dropped in with his ult.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he was floating down from the air, and I'm like, he's about to ult us. We're all standing there, and he started ulting, and I hit him straight in the head. Dead.
Yeah.
Gone. It's don't worry about it, guys. Dead. But I had a good game the other day. I think I went 31 kills with Hanzo, so I was pretty happy with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
How satisfying is that headshot noise?
Oh, I don't know what you describe that noise as. I was thinking about this the other day. It sounds like a kettlebell or a cowbell or something like that.
Apparently it's a bottle cap popping off a bottle, but they distorted it a bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's very satisfying. Is that just is it unique to the character?
No, I think it's
just the headshot?
Just the headshot noise.
That's fucking cool. I love it when like people just get experimental with the sounds like that. It's the same satisfying feeling that I used to get from Call of Duty back in the day when you'd hit the headshots in like the World War games, like boop.
But yeah, I need to play more Overwatch. But I slowed down after I hit 100 hours.
Yeah, that's insane. Have you I'm assuming you've prestiged your characters then, or your account once? Yeah, because I think the level progression is actually really slow.
Yeah, they tweaked it.
Oh, really?
It used to be really easy. When you prestiged, all of the XP leading up to level 20 or 30 again was back to how it was when you first started. So you could just grind through the first 30 levels of every prestige.
Oh, damn.
In like a day.
Wow. Yeah, I'm only level 14, but I've probably put in close to 10 hours. So I'm not sure if that's good, bad, but it feels slow.
But the good thing about Overwatch is that like loot boxes and things like that are the only earnable item you get from levels, and all of it's cosmetic. So like level doesn't mean too much. It's more just they've played a lot of the game.
Yeah, it only really means I'm assuming like ranking wise where you get categorized in terms of multiplayer, like who you get placed with and stuff.
Yeah.
Although you don't unlock the competitive play till level 25 anyway. Not that I'd be any good. Like I'd be terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, but general matchmaking usually tries to keep levels together, or at least skill level together.
Yeah, it is. It's fun, man. Like I really like Overwatch. I honestly didn't think I only got it because Kelsey, my girlfriend, was pestering me to get it. I was like, all right, I'll get it, knowing that I'm not really into much of just the old school team deathmatch type stuff, even though this had that hero twist genre on top. But surprisingly enough, like it's got my attention at the moment, but like all multiplayer games like this, I start to ask myself, why am I playing this? If there's no real kind of sense of progression or reason to like, build a character or flesh it out, like a skill tree or stats, which is, I guess, like you said, like the XP and progression system's kind of just superficial. Yeah. There's no real reason to play Overwatch other than just for its pure enjoyment of shooting people, which I sound really bad here. Like I sound like some kind of brainwashed, modernized like gamer because I need all this extra shit. I can't just play the game and enjoy it, but I like to have that sense of progression, like character building progression. Like Call of Duty, when you'd unlock all the weapons and you build yourself like a kit or a soldier. So, and the perks and stuff, like you get all the unlocks on the perks and stuff, like something like that,
Yeah. Well, it's like the closest thing they have is that you've got like skins and emotes and voice lines, but even then it's not really your character.
Yeah. Which, again, it's kind of why I liked Battleborn. That's a filthy word. Filthy sentence. I never tried it. Well, it had the challenge aspect to it. It had the PvE side. There was the multiplayer side, which we spoke about before. How they got that wrong. Like they got that glaringly wrong because it was like MOBA meets first person shooter hero genre, kind of weird mashup like that. And they should have forgone that MOBA and just kept the hero aspect like Overwatch. But you'd be stuck in this first person game with these hero characters controlling lanes, and it'd be just about the minions, and they'd just be kind of cumbersome and messy. It just kind of really diminished that strategic competitive nature that it could have had that Overwatch does have. But the coolest thing about Battleborn was its campaign. It had like this pretty really cool cinematic cutscenes, and it had a pretty fun campaign, and it was a very I'm going to say Destiny-esque, even though it's not. But I mean that in terms of like the shooter social aspect and taking on a challenging PvE experience, which was really fun, and there was progression involved with that, which is really cool. It'd be so cool if Overwatch did something like that one day.
Yeah, well, it's like during events and things like that, they've started to do sort of story sequences. So it's like earlier in the year it was sort of the mission that caused Reaper to go sort of roguish with his group.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that had a full in-engine cutscene beforehand, and it was like this whole sort of like heist thing.
Yep.
And it built on the characters in the story, and it was really cool. And then they did like Trace's first day of work, and what went down during that, and during Halloween events they do PvE and things like that.
I hate Reaper.
And when they do that stuff, I wish it would stick around, because when Overwatch does PvE, it's super good.
Yeah, that's what I want, man. Like, give me a killer PvE. I don't know, like just any kind of PvE progression experience. Like, I don't know, like Fortnite or Horde mode or some kind of social PvE experience. I'd love. It'd be fun. Just something that's removed from the competitive arena, so you can actually maybe unbalance some of the characters and just have it being about like building characters and stats and skills. Like, I think that'd be sick. I know I'm asking too much. There's nothing wrong with the existing Overwatch formula. I'm just trying to create the perfect Overwatch experience for myself. But, you know, a guy can dream. Yeah. Anywho, Mark, let's get recording.